film begins in the city of Bandung in 1990. Here we see a woman named Linda holding a cigarette, opening an old album, and looking at memories from the past. In her youth, Linda was a well-known socialite in society and a magazine cover girl. After that, she sits alone in the house, solving crossword puzzles to pass the time. On the other side, we see someone performing a black magic ritual on another person. The man cuts his own hand with a knife, sprinkles blood, and performs the ritual by spraying it on a spell-cast cloth. Suddenly, Linda feels a strange sensation on her palm. Hearing the sound of a door opening from the next room, Linda stands up and starts calling her daughter Ira. There she sees some strange hands. Despite being scared, Linda moves toward the open door near the house. But at that very moment, a demonic hand grabs her head and starts pulling her. At that instant, the door opens by itself and hundreds of black hands lunge toward Linda. The scene cuts to 4 months later. Linda is now gravely ill. Ira takes great care of her mother. Linda says that for now, even a single day feels very long to her. As night falls, she feels as if someone is watching her, which is continuously worsening her mental condition. Ira tells her mother that besides the two of them, there is no one else in the house. Although Linda had 3 children, only Ira now takes care of her. Linda calms down a little, but suddenly she starts writhing in pain again. This time her body begins to burn terribly. Ira quickly soaks a cloth in cold water and wipes her mother's body. Once she feels some relief, Linda falls asleep. While combing her mother's hair, Ira sees a worm inside the hair that disappears the very next moment. A little later, a letter is written to Mr. Fio, who was in charge of the magazine column that Linda loved very much. Ira writes that she cannot tell anyone else because Linda has been sick for 4 months, but no one knows the reason. Ira has seen many strange incidents happening to her mother with her own eyes. She further writes that one afternoon she was feeding her mother. At that time, she started feeling unbearable pain. She threw away the food bowl, picked up the jug, and drank all the water. Still, the pain in her throat was not reducing in any way. While struggling, she pulled out something sharp from inside her throat and tried to injure my eye with that very piece of glass. Luckily, my eye was not hurt, but there was a slight cut from the glass on my face. Then suddenly, Mother regained consciousness. That night, I called my elder sister, Ara, and elder brother, Ari, but they are so busy with work that they have no time to come back. Ira further writes that Mother's condition is slowly deteriorating. Linda's anger seems to be constantly increasing. Here we learn that Linda was actually a prostitute, and the fathers of all 3 siblings were different. They didn't understand it in childhood, but as they grew up, they came to know about their mother's profession. While writing the letter, Ira hears strange noises from her mother's room. Linda was writhing in pain and asking for help. Before Ira could understand anything,
Linda vomits blood along with a worm coming out. Ira calms her mother and goes out to post the letter she had written, and at that moment, Linda, wearing strange clothes and holding a cigarette, goes to the graveyard. When Ira returns home and sees her mother's clothes lying on the veranda, she gets worried and starts searching for her mother. While searching, she comes outside and hearing people shouting, goes there and sees Linda lying on a grave. Everyone was angry because of Linda's behavior. Ira quickly goes and pulls her mother away. The villagers start shouting that Linda's family should leave the village. The ustad comes, calms the people and tells everyone to go home. The village head advises Ira to call her siblings so that they can come and take care of their mother. He warns that if such an incident happens again, you will be thrown out of the village. Ira returns home, cleans her mother's body and asks, "Mother, why did you go to Grandma and Grandpa's grave wearing these clothes?" Linda apologizes and says, "I am causing you so much trouble. Among your siblings, you are the only one who loves me so much." In the next scene, we see that Mr. Fiali has sent a reply to Ira's letter. After reading the entire incident, he understands that this is not an ordinary illness. It is the effect of Tenung, that is black magic. Right then, Ira hears a loud knock at the door. As soon as she opens the door, she sees that Ara and Ari have come home. Here we learn that Ari's wife has died, so he and his daughter came alone. Ira takes them to mother's room. Since Linda is asleep, they come out and talk. Ira says that after that horrific night, mother has completely changed. Her behavior is not normal at all. Ira had shown mother to doctors. No disease was found. Ira says, I feel someone has cursed mother, meaning done black magic on her. Ira immediately dismisses Ira's words and blames her, saying it happened because of the messy state of the house and Ira's negligence. Ira says while crying, taking care of such a big house and a sick mother is not easy at all. An argument starts between them over this. Suddenly, Linda wakes up. As soon as she looks up, she sees countless demonic hands and her own shadow. The black hands start choking Linda. She starts trembling from suffocation. Hearing her scream, Ira runs and grabs her mother. Then Ara and Ari arrive. Linda's lifeless body falls into Ira's lap. Ira tries to wake her mother. After a while, Ira realizes that her mother is no longer breathing, meaning Linda is dead. The next day, villagers come and help with Linda's funeral. When Ira is about to go to participate in her mother's funeral prayer, she also calls Ara. But because Ara is on her period, she tells her she cannot join the prayer. At that moment, she hugs Ira and apologizes for the previous night. Everyone starts the funeral prayer. As soon as the prayer ends, a black cat passes over Linda's body and both of Linda's eyes open and she sits up. Seeing this, the others who came for the prayer run away in fear. Ari immediately calls the doctor. The doctor examines and says Linda has returned from death-like unconsciousness. She has come back to life from a temporary state of death. After the doctor leaves, Ira and her siblings come and welcome her. Linda says, from now on everyone will stay together and not be separated. She hugs her little granddaughter Alia. The next morning, Ira and Ara see that food is set on the table and the whole house is cleaned. They are shocked because none of them had done this work.
Then Linda says, I did it. Linda calls everyone for breakfast. Here we see that Linda's eyelids remain still without blinking even once. Not only that, even when a fly lands on her eye, she does not blink, meaning Linda was not normal. That afternoon, Ira notices that her mother is writing with her left hand. Ira asks, since when did you start writing with your left hand? Linda replies, ever since I came back to life after being dead. That night, Ira sits down again to write a letter to Mr. Fial. Suddenly, she feels as if her mother just passed behind her. When she turns around, she sees no one. Then blood falls from the ceiling onto her paper, and there were worms in that blood too. In the next scene, we see Ari suddenly waking from sleep and hearing some noise in the drawing room. He goes and sees Linda staring at the TV where there is no picture, only static noise. Ari sees that Linda has scratched her hand so much that the skin is torn. Linda turns her head and says to Ari, I have come to make you fulfill your promise. Ari asks, which promise? Suddenly, Linda disappears from the chair. He steps forward and sees no one is on the chair. Suddenly, seeing his mother coming toward him in a terrifying way, his sleep breaks. It was all a nightmare. The next morning, we see Ara flushing her aborted, bloody fetus down the toilet. Then Ira goes to the bathroom and starts washing the blood-soaked sheet. Suddenly, she sees a small, bloody fetus floating in the water. She gets scared, but when she looks again, the fetus has disappeared. Meanwhile, Linda buys a doll for Alia. Seeing this, Ari gets angry and says to Linda, I have the means to buy toys. Saying this, he leaves. Scene cut. We see Alia playing with a doll in the room, but suddenly the doll's face becomes terrifying. Alia tries to leave the room in fear, but the door locks by itself. The doll's head separates from the body and starts floating. Alia starts screaming. As soon as Ari opens the door, everything becomes normal. Ari locks the doll in the cupboard, but strangely, the cupboard door opens by itself again. Ari locks the cupboard again, puts a lock, and takes his daughter away. In the next scene, Ari is playing hide and seek with his daughter. While searching for Alia, he sees small child feet under the bed. He assumes they are Alia's feet. As soon as Ari lightly touches both feet, Alia asks, "Papa, what are you doing there?" When Ari looks under the bed, he sees a terrifying entity that looks like Alia, but then he realizes it is the same doll he had locked in the cupboard. At night, Ira was sleeping on the same bed with Alia. In the middle of the night, Ira wakes up.
Hearing noise from the living room, she goes there and sees Linda banging her head against the wall. As soon as Ara approaches her, Linda takes out an incomplete baby from her mouth and holds it in front of Ara, as if it is the same aborted fetus Ara had thrown away. Then Ara wakes up. It was all a nightmare, so she goes back to sleep. The next morning, Ara takes Ari to the market. At home, Ara asks Ira, "Don't you feel something strange seeing Mother?" Ira says, "Yes, I feel the same." In the market, Ara sees his mother going toward a dark alley. He follows and sees Linda standing at the end of the alley. When Ara calls her, Linda turns toward him, but her face has become terrifying and she is floating in the air toward him and the lights start blinking. Suddenly, she disappears and hits him from one side. Suddenly, Ara wakes up. He was standing in the market. Linda, having finished shopping, calls him, "Come, let's go home." At night, Ara takes Ailey away from the dining table without feeding her. Then Linda says, "Another grandchild of mine was going to be here, but it was aborted." Here, we learn that Ara is also a prostitute like her mother. As Ara leaves in anger, Linda says, "You have also chosen my path. But there is one difference between us. You killed your baby. You are worse than me." Here, Ara also releases all the anger stored inside her. She says, "I did not keep the child I did not need, but even though you did not need us, you gave birth to us so you could raise your hand on us. Since childhood, we have seen how many men came and went from the house. Did you ever think how much pain this caused your children? We don't even know who our fathers are. That is the difference between you and me. I did not want him to live a hellish life like us. That's why I did not let him live." After that, Ara leaves sadly. Ira apologizes to her mother and says, "Don't feel bad because of Ara's words, mother. She didn't say it intentionally." Linda smiles and says, "You are very innocent. Ara has hidden a very big sin." Later, while Ira is clearing the dining table, the TV suddenly turns on by itself. Ira turns it off, but a few seconds later, it turns on again. Now a picture appears on the TV screen. Then we see a demonic hand on Ira's shoulder that disappears in a moment. On the other side, in Ara's room, we see Linda sitting on a demonic chair who disappears as soon as Ara opens her eyes. Ara opens her eyes and sees no one, but when she closes her eyes, she hears the sound of the chair. Out of fear, she turns her face to the other side. But suddenly, Linda's terrifying face appears in front of her and then disappears. Ara notices blood flowing from her breast. Scared, she runs to Ira and asks, "What exactly is the matter with the black magic you mentioned?" Ira then shows Ara Mr. File's letter. On the other side, Ari was sitting with Alia. Suddenly, a window opens. He gets up, closes the window, and as soon as he turns around, Alia is not on the bed. But he can still hear Alia's screams from inside the house. Suddenly, Alia attacks him in a terrifying form, and he starts screaming. Hearing the scream, Ira and Ara come running and see sharp scratch marks on Ari's chest. At that moment, Alia is seen on the bed as if nothing had happened. Following Fial's words, Ira performs a ritual to identify black magic. Then, according to what is written in the letter, she places all the ritual items under Linda's bed. The next morning, Ira breaks the egg and sees that it has turned black inside. Seeing this, they clearly understand that Linda is truly cursed. Ari says they should all leave this house. Here we see Mr. Fial for the first time, who after reading the letter sent by Ira, confirms that a demon has possessed Linda. At night, a very strong storm and rain start. Because the storm does not stop, they cannot leave the house. Out of fear, everyone decides to sleep in the same room. In the middle of the night, Ira gets her period again.
The sheet gets soaked. She quickly goes to the bathroom to change the sanitary pad. At that time, she hears a baby crying, which she cannot bear. She wants to get out of the bathroom quickly, but the door locks by itself. Hearing noise from the water tank, she goes to check. Suddenly, her mother's reflection appears in the water. Out of fear, she slips and falls, and her head splits. Aura dies at that very moment. Meanwhile, Arrow wakes up and sees Aura's not on the bed. Following the blood trail, she reaches the door and sees Aura standing. But in a moment, the shadow disappears. Arrow enters the bathroom and sees her sister's lifeless body lying there. Arrow screams and starts crying. After that, a graveyard scene is shown, where Linda also comes and tells everyone to go home after the burial. Arrow remains sitting by the grave. Suddenly, Mr. Fial comes to her. This was their first meeting. Fial says she is not your mother, she is the devil. He further says that in this black magic, being cursed means surrendering her soul to the demon. Because the demon has not yet been able to take Linda, the demon has come for revenge. Fial says with certainty that the person who did the black magic is actually someone from Era's own family, and Era realizes who could have done it. While returning, Ari remembers a childhood incident when he and Ara left home. Era had begged Mother not to let them go, but Linda was stubborn. She had said, where will they go? They will return within a week. But they never returned home. Many years later, one day Ari came back asking for money, but Linda did not want to help at all. So Ari said in anger, is giving me money more difficult than selling your own body? Linda angrily slaps Ari and says, if it seems so easy, sell your wife's body, and throw some money and leaves. Returning home, he tells his wife that he could not arrange money. Because of this, his wife leaves him and Alia. Then, in anger, Ari performs black magic on Linda, which was shown at the beginning of the film. After that, the shaman gives him the cursed cloth and says, bury it in the soil of Linda's house. He also says, if you change your mind, you can dig up the cloth and burn it, and the entire curse will be removed. Now Ari has realized his mistake, so he tries to dig up the cursed cloth from the soil to burn it. Ari tells Alia to stand nearby, but the demon lures Alia and takes her inside the house, which Ari does not notice. Then, Ira comes and says, why did you curse Mother? Have you gone mad? Ari says, let me dig up the cursed cloth and burn it. Then he notices that Alia is not there. They all run toward the house, but Linda closes the door. Ira says, you go and free us from this curse. I will save Alia. Before leaving, Ari apologizes and says, whatever happens, save Alia. Ira enters the room through the window, while on the other side, Ari keeps digging the soil, and Mr. Fial tries to break the door. In the room, Ira suddenly sees Linda on the TV screen. Then the hands that had choked Linda to death now grab Ira's throat too. After the hands leave, Ira is able to see Alia. While trying to get Alia, Ira realizes she is not holding Alia but a severed hand, which she immediately throws away. Meanwhile, Ari still cannot find the cloth. Ira sees Alia walking in front of her and banging her head against the window. When Ira goes to save her, the dining table moves by itself and blocks Ira. Now Ira cannot even move. At that moment, the devil descends from the wall and goes to kill Alia. Here his real form is revealed. And the demon says, Ira, do you know that when you make a promise, you have to fulfill it? But humans always break their oaths. Because the promise was not kept, I will take all your lives. And it started with Ara. Now Alia and Ira also understand which promise he is talking about. Then, Mr. Fial enters the room, but the demon uses his power and throws Fial away. Meanwhile, Ari finally finds the cloth and sets it on fire. At the same time, the demon starts to be destroyed and Alia is saved. Ira goes to Alia and sees her mother's dead body. Later, she takes Alia and comes to Ari. They thought everything might be normal now. But then, the demonic hands come out of the soil and drag Ari into the ground. Ira, standing above, can do nothing but watch. The next morning, Ira is sitting by the graves of her mother and brother. Then Mr. Fial comes and asks Ira, is your full name Andira Kasuma Devi? Ira says, how do you know? Then Mr. Fial gives Ira a letter. There was also a photo of Linda with Mr. Fial. In the letter, Linda had written, Dear Fial, I am sorry for leaving you like this. You are the only man I ever loved, but you deserve someone much better than me. I am leaving carrying your part in my womb. I will name her Andira Kasuma Devi. Ira realizes that Mr. Fial is her father, and here father and daughter meet, and Alia stands by the grave staring motionlessly, and the film ends here.